And back to our panel of Jay, John, and David. Let's take a look right now. We're waiting, by the way, the address from the Canadian Prime Minister. It's been delayed. Stephen Harper, of course, on the Hard today in Ottawa. But here at home, we're just 2 weeks out from Election Day, and Governor Chris Christie, who's definitely running for president, takes an elitist view for some reason on his contempt for the minimum wage debate. Yesterday, in his speech to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Governor Christie, who's not on the ballot this year but will clearly be running for president, said he's tired of hearing about the minimum wage.
I got to tell you the truth. I'm tired of hearing about the minimum wage. I really am. I don't think there's a mother or father sitting around a kitchen table tonight in America who are saying, you know, honey, if our son or daughter could just make a higher minimum wage, my God, all our dreams would be realized. Is that what parents aspire to for their children? They aspire to a greater growing America where their children have the ability to make much more money and have much greater success than they've had. And that's not about a higher minimum wage, everybody.
I know what he's talking to. He's talking to business guys. But we're all listening. And suppose you're on minimum wage and you're watching that. Yeah. Suppose your parents or your kids are on minimum wage. It's a directed message to a directed group of people that it basically dismisses the others.
Well, there's a whole branch of the Republican Party that is very cognizant of this. I mean, you've got Paul Ryan out there, you've got Rand Paul talking about poverty, Rick Santorum talking about this, but then there is another branch of the Republican Party that is completely tone deaf on these issues. Then you could, I guess, business Republicans, and Christie has just proven himself to be one of them.
I think the Republicans have come up with a bit of a strategy, because not too long ago, Scott Walker, who's running for governor re-election in Wisconsin, was asked about this, I think, in an editorial board meeting or something, and he says, I don't want people making the minimum wage. I want them making 2, 3, 4 times the minimum wage. And so I think Republicans are trying to say, hey, we don't care about people making pissants amount of money. we want you to be wealthy. 2 chickens in every pot, you know?
That's called loving it to death. It's an old political strike. Of course I'm for minimum wage. I'm for more money.
That's right. And so what he was saying in a much cruder fashion is, well, we shouldn't be caring about the minimum wage. We should give everybody a unicorn.
Okay. And, the media in this country is very, not that it's good all the time, certainly, but it does have sort of a regular guy's point of view, because most people watching are regular people. You know that. So local television is like that. They get mad about the weather with the people. They're going to take a position against this. He's going to pay for this.
Well, he's absolutely. I mean, he's going to be. Everyone is. He's going. I bet you. I'm sure he'll be out there talking about poverty soon, or he will have to do a poverty tour at some time.
A listening tour. A poverty listening tour.
Yeah, a listening tour. He'll have to come up with a plan to fight poverty, because there's no way. I mean, you have to talk. I mean, this is a big problem for the Republican Party. There were so many conservatives that went out there that said this is wrong. This is not the party that.
He's not the guy, though, to go out and do a poverty tour. He's like one of his big selling points is he's sort of the brash guy from Jersey, right? And he owns that, and he has to just sort of accept this and own it. And I do think, Republicans believe that the people that are going to be offended by these comments aren't a very large part of the electorate, and even if some of them are there, they're not going to identify with those people. And so, okay, fine, cut bait with those people and say, we want you only to have that job for a short amount of time or whatever, and you can get a better job later, so why should we, do this to the business?
But two-thirds of the people who are on minimum wage are women. And they have a big problem with women already. They've been losing women, every year since 1982. And so, I mean, that's not necessarily something you want to say when you're trying to appeal to women.
But once he's out there, he's not going to go away from it, right?
Well, you know what I'd run? I'd run an ad if I were a Democrat. I'd run an ad. If I were a candidate, I would run an ad showing the people working at the fast food place where you get your coffee in the morning, or where you get your hamburger, your fries, and say, minimum wage person, you want to tell them to their face they're not worth any more money? Do you want to say to the guy, the guy working at a hotel out in front, when you walk past the hotel, there's a guy standing there? Do you want to say that to all kinds of people that are working for minimum wage? And you're telling them to their face, you ain't worth $7 an hour.
The brash stuff.
That's a hell of a statement.
The brash stuff was working for Christie once upon a time. Then this little George Washington Bridge thing happened, and his ability to his temper, his arrogance, and all that stuff that used to be an asset became a liability. So when he talks like this, again, it's just not as charming as it used to be. So some people still relate to it, some of that, but I think he's lost his flow.
You're so smart. We used to say, none of your business, Emily, or whatever it was. That was sort of cute, knowing more. Anyway, ever since he started stopping traffic in the morning, Jay Newton Small, people in a hurry. John Stanton, thank you, sir, and thank you, David Corn, who's always right and staying with us. By the way, we're going to have more on that fence.